Good morning and welcome to the new edition of Dr. Lamba's Awakening Call. There was a time when the BBC was believed, and as a matter of fact, even today, of all the news agencies, of all the media outlets, BBC is the sole organization which is known for its integrity, for its honesty, and for its fair reporting. It has not lost its sheen in this era of the fake news, concocted news, or otherwise. But is it going to last? Would the old story be repeated with admiration for BBC? As it says during the Second World War, the Germans would tune into the BBC to know the latest position because they did not believe the propaganda of Gestapo that was unleashed over the German news channels. So they will quietly sneak into their beds, put the lights off, and listen to BBC because they believed and they knew that BBC was honest, it had integrity, it had professional honesty. Is it true today as well? Maybe. Would it be true for times to come? No. And that's a shock. I do not believe in mollycoddling, but BBC is definitely getting afflicted and infected by the virus of politically correctness. It has updated its editorial guidance, which comes into effect next month. And when I looked at this statement of editorial guidelines, I was shocked. There's a clear indication that BBC is not only infected by political correctness, but it is on the last gasp of honesty, integrity, reliability, acceptance, and all professional ethical standards are being bidden goodbye. What has happened is that BBC is banning the word terror activities. It says no, the word terror should not be used. The word terrorist should not be used. Why use the word terrorist? You can call it a bomber, you can call it a gunman, you can call it anything but a terrorist. Why? According to BBC, the word terrorist is a depiction of bias. And the news editor of BBC says there is no agreed definition of what a terrorist is. And therefore, the decision was necessary to avoid bias and unfactual reporting. Now, you and I know what terrorism is. We have faced terrorism. We have heard about it. We have seen it. And word terrorism has become, since the infamous bombing of Empire State Buildings in New York, the wanton killing of the innocents, the rapes, the beheadings by anybody, whether it's Muslims, the white supremacists, or the Sikhs, is abominable. And it all constitutes terror activity. After all, what is terror activity? As defined by the Cambridge Dictionary, a terrorist is someone who uses violent action are threats of violent action to achieve political purpose. Now, if anybody uses violence to achieve political purpose and is called a terrorist, what's wrong with that? And how does Kamal Ahmed, the director of editorial guidance committee, feel that reporting an activity of violence to achieve political purpose, right or wrong, is immaterial? But the word is clearly denotes a use of a violent activity to achieve a political end. Now, it's another thing, I do not deny, that a terrorist for one can be a hero for the other. The British government, during its heyday, called all revolutionaries and the freedom fighters in Asia and Africa terrorists. Nelson Mandela was deemed a terrorist, and so was Bhagat Singh and others, and they were hanged. And now they are the heroes. So the situation changes according to who perceives it. The situation is exactly like a glass of water, half full or half empty. But nobody can deny two facts. One, there is a glass and there is some water in that. To say that the word glass and water are not practically defined and can cause confusion is wrong. Then the deduction would be that the BB should ban the word glass and water because they are not properly defined. As a matter of fact, no word is etched in stone. The meaning, the connotation of the word changes according to the time, according to the culture, according to the historical perspective, and the perspective of the person or the community that is involved. So undeniably, the terrorists, whether they were the Sikh terrorists, or the white supremacist terrorists of Christchurch, or they are the ISIS and Al Qaeda terrorists, all are heroes in their own groups, but they are terrorists for the other world. So, why this allergy to the word terrorist? Clearly, it is a case of politically correct illness. You know, the word terror and terrorism was first used by BBC itself during IRA terrorist organizations bombing. Now, IRA was successful that it got Ireland free, though Ulster remained under the British rule. But they were successful. So those terrorists became the heroes. But the BBC editorial guideline did not change. They kept on calling them terrorists from the British point of view. At the same time, that reporters have used the word jihadists and militants when referring to the Islamic extremists as opposed to the Irish terrorists. So if today you are banning the word, excuse me please. So if you ban the word terrorist today, then the next step would be to ban the word jihadist and militant. Or incorporate a new word. Now, coming to the etymological aspect, I was already saying that the people always have a different perception of each word. The word nice at one time used to mean foolish. Centuries passed, and then it changed the perception. The people started, because normally they say the countrymen are foolish, so they came to mean the countrymen, the rustic people. And then again the evolution took place. Rustic people, country people are simple people. So nice came to mean simple. And then simple people are good people. So nice came to mean good. So there has been a 180-degree change in the perception and the meaning of the word. So if terrorist word hurt somebody, it can always be meant that, okay, he is a hero to his own community or to his own group. But to ban the word is only like that pigeon which closes its eyes when the cat is near. It thinks that if you wish a cat away, there'll be no fear. BBC is dropping the word altogether. First there was a change. Now see the evolution. They used the word terrorist at the time of Irish Republican Army. Then they started using the word jihadist and Islamist and militant. And now they are dropping the word altogether so that no political affiliation can be imputed. And this decision has been criticized by the employees of BBC. It has been criticized by the commentators. As a matter of fact, one MP said that this is a action to sanitize the actions of terrorists, but it would not change the reality. Home Secretary Advisor of England says it's a common usage and as recognition in law. And I quote, if you use attempted killing or injury to achieve a personal objective or a political objective, then it's plain terrorism. It will be misguiding to say that these terrorist episodes, if they are not attempts to change a political or ideological cause through violence. So the experts, the academicians, and the employees of BBC are objecting. But Mr. Kamal Ahmad has taken unto himself to change the word terrorist. And then there have been people like the Home Advisor Green when he says, BBC is failing in the public service duty by censoring the use of the word. And the employees have said that many people think that the idea of the word, banning the word is nuts. And this is reported by Daily Mail. As a matter of fact, it boils down to one phrase. One man's terrorist is another man's freedom fighter, as I said. But that doesn't change the fact that terrorist is a terrorist. He might be a hero, he might be a martyr as far as his group is concerned. But for the common people, he is a terrorist. By censoring the word terrorist to identify someone who pursues political goals by mass murdering civilian men, women, and children, causing terror in society, causing fear in society as a whole, is in fact problematic. And it's symptomatic as well. It's symptomatic of the larger problem. That is the weakness of Britain's national will. Britain as a nation is today not a whole nation. It's a divided nation. And this censoring of the word terrorist is basically meant to placate and satisfy a segment of society which breeds violence. BBC, by this action, has only shown that no organization can be relied to be honest for a long time. In case it starts compromising, it compromised when I stopped using the word terrorist and changed it for militant. And going downhill is very easy. So it was very easy for Kamal Ahmed to say, word terrorist is bad, so we are banning it. Unfortunately, this suppression of the word doesn't suppress terrorism. Rather, it provides fuel to the fire. It also is a nail in the coffin of BBC as a reliable, responsible organization. It is an admission of the fact that the terrorists are successful in their ways to throttle honesty, to suffocate freedom, and achieve their goals that way. Thank you.